I opened up my I had totally forgotten that I signed up for that Threads thing. I'm like, yeah, this is going to take off, and then of course didn't. And I opened it up for a second. The first thing I see is a tweet from some Chicago reporter saying Justin Fields for MVP, and then I shut it off. And that's downright embarrassing. Although then again, you know, people would have probably thought it was embarrassing to say Jalen Hurts for MVP last year, and although he didn't win the MVP, he was certainly in the conversation.
Yeah, a lot of people thought he was going to have a big year, though. He was highly ranked in fantasy.
But he wasn't very good. Well, fantasy, but so will Justin Fields be highly ranked in fantasy. Not as high.
Really?
Because he ran for like 1,000 yards.
And he can't throw for anything, though.
It doesn't matter. Going into last year, you didn't know if Hurts could throw for anything. So it's possible.
I guess.
You know, Hurts didn't have a good year his first year in the NFL.
No.
Ian's in with us because Tyvus had to go. So we're talking Browns 32-32. And Earl, who's today's player?
Yeah, number 26 on the list of importance per production team is linebacker Anthony Walker. Played 3 games before missing the rest of the season last year with injury. So what impact can Anthony Walker have on the Cleveland Browns in 2023?
He was sort of like the tentpole of the entire defense. It felt like when he went out, the whole thing sort of crashed in and caved in. It surprised me a little bit how important he felt to that unit.
Yeah.
Certainly the quarterback of the defense. He wore the green dot. We all know that. I would tend to think he probably will again. I think we make too much about the green dot. I said that the other day. But, yeah, I think he's the one guy that has the most experience and that you can, if he's healthy, he's got to be healthy, that you can rely on and know that there's one spot that's filled. And we have questions about JOK. There's questions about so many of the other linebackers. As long as he's healthy, I really don't have any questions about Anthony Walker.
Go ahead, Ian. What do you think about Anthony Walker?
Yeah, so Anthony Walker, so I am, a big Colts fan, so I got to watch a lot of Anthony Walker when he played with Shaquille Leonard, and he was a huge impact player on the Colts, like when they were together. And so with the Browns, I know he had some injury problems last year, and he played a little bit like the year before.
Yeah.
And I know there's been some questions about the linebacker room. So I think that this is a guy who, if healthy, can lead the Browns linebacking unit.
Yeah. So you're a Cubs fan and a Colts fan?
Yes.
You grew up in Chicago, right?
So I spent like 4 or 5 years of my life in Chicago, and then my dad grew up in Indianapolis, and that's how I became a Colts fan.
Okay. Are most people in Indianapolis Cubs fans?
It's split down the line between
Cubs and Reds?
Yeah.
All right.
So
Colts suck. You don't think they're going to be any good, do you?
Well, before this whole Jonathan Taylor thing happened, I thought that they could surprise some people.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting anything crazy, but I was expecting them to be in the mix a little bit because they still have, if Taylor plays for them, the 7 Pro Bowlers that went from like 2 years ago. I just think they had a lot of.
The owner's such an idiot.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
But getting back to Anthony Walker, I think I got to say, I think the behind the glass team has really dropped the ball on this list. I think Cade 2 days in a row. Look at Earl's face. Yeah, I think 2 days in a row, Cade York and Anthony Walker should both be higher. I don't know how those guys are not in at least the top 24.
You just got to wait till you see the rest of
how many slappies do you have ahead of these
Now,
guys?
they do have coaches involved in this, right?
Oh, there's coaches, too.
There's coaches involved.
Okay.
It's the entire organization that's involved in this.
Where's J.W. Johnson? Is he on the list?
He did not make the list. Honorable mention.
Tom's not on the list?
Honorable mention.
Succession.
Tom's. Yeah, he's Tom. Yeah,
He's
right.
Tom.
I mean, that guy.
Brownie the Elf is on the list.
He better not be.
Brownie the Elf is actually number 1.
Gosh. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you guys put Brownie the Elf on the list.
The new dog logo.
The dog logo that looks like Predator. So Anthony Walker, he's a solid player. Yeah. He is important to what they do. I agree with you, Jason, that it felt like he was the first domino that led to the defense completely cratering it last year. And he's a smart guy. The players love playing with him. As you mentioned with the Colts, like when he left, there were guys crying on the Colts because they loved him so much.
Good dude, solid dude.
Yeah, he's not a great player, but he's a solid player, good guy, good leader, good teammate. They haven't been able to keep him healthy. I think if they can keep the linebackers healthy, maybe they could play at an adequate level. There's still a lot to prove in that unit, but I think Anthony Walker is sneaky important to the Browns.
Yeah, he's a very solid player. I mean, he's not the kind of guy that's going to force a ton of turnovers or fumbles, interceptions, none of that. Yeah. But he'll definitely be good for, just over 100 tackles a year, and you'll feel his impact for sure.
Well, if he had 100 tackles this year, that would be awesome.
Be a good year.
They could use a linebacker leading the team with 120. That's something
Instead of the safeties.
That's right. That's something our buddy DeQuell Jackson did quite a bit. He would
Yeah.
lead the Browns
Yeah.
and the Colts
Yeah.
in tackles quite a bit. All right, that's going to do it for today's edition of Overtime on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.